Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be teaching you regulation of kidney functions. So basically, and the renin angiotensinogen mechanism, of course. So regulation of kidney functions. So basically, this revolves around the GFR rate, that is the glomerular filtrate rate. So what happens when the afferent arteriole comes in the glomerulus or the Bowman's capsule, you can say, the amount of that the blood comes except plasma, remember, except plasma all the blood comes in the filtrate. So that rate is determined by several factors, so we will study them. And renin angiotensinogen mechanism is one of them. So I will be teaching you everything from the detail. So if you like the video, please click that like button. So let's start without any delay. So GFR is regulated mainly by three main hormones or three main mechanisms. It is the RAAS, renin angiotensinogen mechanism, the ANF, antineurotic factor, and the ADH, antidiuretic hormone, or you can say vasopressin. Another name for ADH, vasopressin. So these three hormones control the GFR rate. So another important thing, the renin angiotensinogen mechanism, it is controlled by a region, juxtaglomerular region. It is controlled by that. The ANF, antineurotic factor, it is released by the heart. Very important. It is released by the heart. We will later learn which exactly, from where exactly, and we will go into detail. But this is just the basic. Then the EDH or the vasopressin, which is, of course, you all know, it is released by the neurohypophysis part of the hypothalamus. But we will again go into detail. But this is just the basic, very important. Keep in your mind. So let's start with the first, JGA. What is JGA? It is the juxtaglomerular region. It is a region. Where is this region present? It is present in the DCT, distal convoluted tubule, in the kidney, in the nephron, and the afferent arteriole. Very important. Where is the juxtaglomerular region present? It is present in the DCT and the afferent arteriole. Now there is an efferent arteriole as well. Please don't confuse it with that. Afferent arteriole and DCT के बीच में होता है ये. So basically, in NCRT it is given that DCT has macula densa cells. DCT has macula densa cells, and afferent arteriole has the GJ cells. Now very important. You have to learn which one has which cells. So what is GJ again? GJ is a region between DCT and afferent arteriole in the nephron. And DCT, the walls of DCT have macula densa cells. In NCRT there is no function given of the macula densa cells, so you don't have to worry about that. But very important, the GJ cells. Now whole renin angiotensinogen mechanism works around these GJ cells. So remember, these GJ cells are present in the walls of afferent arteriole. Please take down these notes. I've made these notes especially from the NCRT. I've used them myself. These are very good. So please, then afferent arteriole में GJ cells are present. Okay. So now let's start with the renin angiotensinogen mechanism. Okay, so let's start with the renin angiotensinogen mechanism. Now this whole mechanism revolves around GJ cells. Now what happens when the GFR rate, the rate by which the glomerular filtration rate is happening? Now I'm assuming that you have read the before topics of this chapter, like tubular secretion and the 3 ultrafiltration and all that. So basically, when GFR occurs, what happens? This renin angiotensinogen mechanism is a cope-up mechanism. Means what happens when the GFR rate decreases for some reason, something happens and the GFR rate decreases. Body needs a certain GFR rate. You have also, I don't exactly remember the number, but there is a GFR 125 or something. There is a GFR given. So when that GFR is decreased, what happens? The GGA, where, as we read, the juxtaglomerular region, what happens? It activates the GJ cells. Where, again revise, where is the GJ cells present? It is present in the afferent arteriole. It activates the GJ cells, and what do GJ cells do? They release renin. They release what? They release renin. Renin, you can take it as an hormone. So GJ cells release renin. So what exactly is the function of renin? There is a substance called as angiotensinogen, or in short form we call it ATG. So what this renin does, it converts angiotensinogen into angiotensinogen 1. Okay, first step, it converts into angiotensinogen 1, and then again with the help of this renin, angiotensinogen 1 is converted into angiotensinogen 2. It is converted into angiotensinogen 2. Again, very important, in exam they can give you angiotensinogen 1 and 2, but you have to remember that final product is angiotensinogen 2. So angiotensinogen 2 is a powerful vasoconstrictor. Very important. What is it? It is a vasoconstrictor. Matlab, your blood vessels, it constricts them. These are your blood vessels. What does angiotensinogen do? It constricts them. It presses them. So what happens? You have read in physics, when we press, then same amount of blood will flowing. It will flow in high pressure. So what happens? The blood pressure increases, and when the blood pressure increases, where are these GJ cells present? They are present in the afferent arteriole, right? The arteriole which is coming into the Bowman's capsule, because of which the GFR is happening. So what happens when the blood pressure increases? The blood pressure in that afferent arteriole also increases, and then what happens? Eventually the GFR also increases because of the increase. अभी ज़्यादा blood आएगा तो ज़्यादा filter होगा. So because of that, GFR also increases. So this is basically the angiotensinogen mechanism. Now important thing you have to remember is angiotensinogen 2 is a powerful vasoconstrictor. They can give you in statements that ATG1 is a powerful vasoconstrictor, or ATG is a powerful vasoconstrictor. They are not. They are already present. Remember, they are already present, but renin converts them finally into ATG2 whenever needed, and then they act as a powerful vasoconstrictor. Or else ATG and ATG1 are not powerful vasoconstrictor. Only ATG2 is a powerful vasoconstrictor. And remember, renin, of course, this converts it, and also remember, it is secreted by the GJ cells. GJ cells are present in the afferent arteriole, and the renin-tensinogen mechanism only occurs when the GFR drops down. It doesn't occur every time. It occurs only when the GFR drops down due to some reason. At that time it occurs. Okay. So guys, another important function of the ATG2, angiotensin 2, please write it down on the same page as you have written the angiotensinogen mechanism. This is done simultaneously as the angiotensinogen mechanism happens. This is done simultaneously. So what is the other function? So what ATG does is it activates the adrenal cortex. Very, very important. It activates the adrenal cortex. Now there is in the adrenal gland there is adrenal medulla as well. They can give that to confuse you, but remember, ATG2, what does it does? It also activates adrenal cortex to release a hormone called as aldosterone. Another very, 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 very important hormone, aldosterone. Please remember it. So adrenal cortex, it releases aldosterone. You will also read it in the hormones chapter, or the chemical regulation chapter in NCERT. So what this does, aldosterone, it causes reabsorption of Na plus and water from the DCT. From where it causes the reabsorption of Na and water from the DCT. Another very important point. So what aldosterone does, it causes reabsorption of water and Na plus from DCT. Now due to this, just remember that the BP increases, and what happens when BP increases? GFR also increases. So ATG in renin-angiotensinogen mechanism, it it acts as a vasoconstrictor. Due to that, blood pressure increases, GFR increases. Another function which it does is it activates adrenal cortex to release aldosterone causes reabsorption of Na plus and water from the DCT, and what DCT does, it increases blood pressure, thereby increasing GFR. Now we will move on to our second hormone, which is the antineurotic factor or the ANF, which is released by the heart. I hope you can see this. So the ANF. So ANF, it is one second. Okay, so ANF anti-neurotic factor. First important point, by whom it is released? It is released by the heart. Remember, it is released by the heart. So what is ANF? It is you can say it is a hormone. It is released by the heart. So what happens when the blood which is going to the atria, blood which is going through the atria to the heart, what happens? The blood flow increases. Okay, the blood flow increases, or you can say the BP increases. Now if the BP increases, what will the heart do? That more BP is coming, so it will lower the blood pressure. So what? Increase blood flow to atria of heart. This happens, what happens? There is an increase in blood flow to the atria of the heart. Then what happens? Heart releases ANF. Heart release ANF. Now what ANF does? ANF causes vasodilation or expands blood vessels. Now what we have learned, in vasoconstriction it constricts. So what happens? BP increases due to what? But when we expand, then it will, like, less amount of blood will flow with pressure. Not less amount of blood will flow with less pressure. So BP decreases. What happens? So BP decreases, and eventually you know that GFR will also decrease. They're directly BP, and always remember, BP and GFR are directly proportional. BP and GFR are directly proportional. BP decreases, GFR decreases, BP increases, GFR increases. So what happens in ANF? Remember, very important, ANF में क्या होता है? Vasodilation expands BV decreases, GFR also decreases. Now it works opposite to renin angiotensinogen mechanism. So we read in renin angiotensinogen mechanism that the blood pressure was increasing, therefore the GFR rate was increasing. Now the body can't let one mechanism work alone. What will happen? GFR will increase too much. So to keep a check on that, this mechanism occurs, and this decreases GFR, and that increases GFR. You might have read in the fight and flight hormones. There are two hormones. They work opposite to work. This insulin and glycogen, I guess, they work opposite to each other. So this is basically like that. So it works opposite to each other. So what? ANF, antineurotic factor, and the renin angiotensinogen mechanism, they work opposite to each other. Now we will see ADH, antidiuretic hormone, guys. So now let's start with ADH, antidiuretic hormone. So this is the third hormone that controls the GFR rate, or I'm sorry, the GFR. The R means rate. So let's start with antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. So what happens when the body fluid or the water decreases, or excess loss happens? Then there are certain receptors in our body, or specifically in our kidney. These are called osmoreceptors. So they are activated. Okay, so when water decreases or body fluid में excess loss होता है, then osmoreceptors are activated. Who are activated? Osmoreceptors. So what happens? These osmoreceptors stimulate the hypothalamus to release ADH or vasopressin from the neurohypophysis. Okay, so neurohypophysis is a region in hypothalamus. If you have read the hypothalamus, you knew that it is divided into several regions. One of that region is neurohypophysis. So from where is the ADH or vasopressin released? It is released from a region in hypothalamus known as न्यूरोहाइफोसिस. सो न्यूरोहाइफोसिस से जब ईडीएच और वैसोप्रेसिन रिलीज होता है, व्हाट डज दिस ईडीएच डू? ईडीएच causes water reabsorption, therefore preventing diuresis. Now what is diuresis? Diuresis is a disease or a dysfunction in which the urine contains more amount of water. Okay, so the urine contains excess amount of water. So this is obviously bad for the body because a large amount of water is going out. So what ADH causes? Water reabsorption. So body fluid or the water has decreased in the body. So what will this ADH do? This will cause the reabsorption. क्योंकि कम है ना तो चाहिए बॉडी को, तो वो reabsorption cause करता है और diuresis को prevent करता है. Diuresis क्या होता है? Diuresis is the excess loss of water through urine. So it prevents diuresis. And what else does it does? ADS also cause vasoconstriction और blood vessels को constrict कर देता है, means same as the renin angiotensinogen mechanism. Therefore blood pressure increases and GFR increases. So this works in favor of the blood vessels, BP. So it increases the BP and the GFR rate. So you understand, this is the function of antidiuretic hormone. So if you do this like 5 times 6 times, you will remember every function. So now I will give you a collective end of, because directly I think this question can come. So let's just see it once. You can make this if you want, but it is not really required. Yeah, you can make this if you want, but it is not really required. You have already made notes about before what I've given you, so that is enough. But still, if you want to make this for a better understanding, you can. So the renin angiotensinogen mechanism and the regulation by ADH, antidiuretic hormone, that we just did. So it causes vasoconstriction. It causes vasoconstriction of blood vessels. Due to that, blood pressure increases and the GFR increases. And regulation by ANF, anti-natriuretic factor released by heart. It causes vasodilation of blood vessels, मतलब dilate करता है, expand करता है. So उसकी वजह से BP decreases and GFR decreases. So these work both opposite to each other. You can remember renin angiotensinogen mechanism and EDH work together, and ANF works opposite to these both. Okay, so that's all for the hormone related functions of the kidney, or you can say the mechanism of the kidney. If you want me to make videos on the vasa recta and loop of Henle and the concentration gradient, that is also a bit confusing. If you want me to make a video on that, I will surely do. So please let me know in the comment section, and if you like the video, please click that like button, and please subscribe. It will motivate me to make such videos. And first of all, thank you for watching. I do not have many viewers, it is only my third video. I mean, I don't know where this channel will go, but I'll just keep doing what I do. I'll just make videos. So thank you for watching and hope you learned something. Best of luck for NEET.